keys, then stuff them into Zozobra and light him on fire, celebrating the cleansing and release of all things negative in your life. So the two start writing down their fears. For Katie, it's stuff like abandonment, not being accepted, or heartbreak. Blake, on the other hand, starts writing his biggest fear and looks up to Katie and says, "Do you spell your Aunt Lindsay's name with an A or an E at the end?" They then light their fears on fire and move forward towards a fresh start together. And so, here we are. The last day. Of course, it wouldn't be a season of The Bachelor or Bachelorette without a Neil Lane product placement, so we get one of those. Neil was gracious enough to send over a selection of rings for Blake to choose from. Side note, it's kind of insane that just a few months ago, Tayshia was literally dating Blake, and now she's here helping him pick out rings. This franchise is nuts. So, once more, here the show pushes the narrative of Blake being unsure if he can propose, while intersplicing shots of Katie glamming it up for her final rose ceremony. Which all leads to one of the moments that we've talked about quite a bit in the preview breakdown.
She wants to get engaged. If you're not ready for that, then you need to let her go.
And then, the final rose ceremony.
Positive, only.
And once they move to the typical final rose ceremony speeches begin.
Facts. I have to, bro. I want it to be respectful.
So now, whether Blake propose or not, it's Katie who begins.
I love you today, tomorrow, and forever. And I can't wait for our adventure to begin.
And so, Blake takes his turn to speak. He talks about taking the leap to come there, how great of a wife Katie's
I hope so. I'm trying to win my first solo.
But it wouldn't be The Bachelorette without one last fake out.
I can't give you what you came here for. Because you deserve a lot more than that.
Of course, he says. I'm sticking by my statement that Blake was always more ready than the show let on. Which now means it's time to put a ring on it.
Katie Lane Thurston.
Katie Lane Thurston.
And so, Blake and Katie are engaged. And I gotta say, right now, I'm honestly so happy for these two. Oh, and Blake and Katie as well. But while these two ride off into the sunset, there's to get to the final rose, especially.
I miss Tayshia and Caleb.
Katie and Katie for the first time since the breakup.
Okay.
I really miss Tayshia and Caleb, man. They should have been the permanent ones.
Am I the only one seeing this right now? And it's not long after that Katie's inner Aunt Lindsay comes out.
I never thought
There's like some paycheck stupid thing or something like that.
probably ever get engaged in that journey together.
And Katie says that it hurt when Greg said he never got validation.
They were so good.
Katie says that she didn't.
Hey, come here, buddy, come here.
He was the first person to get a one-on-one, the first person to get a second one-on-one, and really angers her. And she thinks he only uses the show for exposure.
Using me to get the experience, the exposure, dare I say the acting practice, at my expense.
Now we're hitting the groove. She actually pulled out the acting part, like we were all on this lady right now. But if Greg really was an actor, don't you think he could pull out a better fake reaction than this?
Look at me, I'm an actor. An actor, for crying out loud. I mean,
He's trying to be Chris Harrison too bad.
As much as I wish I was, I'm not Meryl Streep.
Oh, we know.
And if you're wondering where all this is coming from, there's been a lot of talk from outside the show that Greg is an actor, and not only that, but all the sad boy Greg shy stuff is not actually his personality. Allegedly, people have claimed that Greg is doing it for the show. Of course, I can in no way verify those anonymous claims, including a lot about Greg's dating history and not being the person that he says he is in relationships, but certainly he did go to acting school, that's known. And honestly, in this discussion with Katie and Greg, the ping-ponging from last week just continues. Katie is angry, the word gaslighting gets thrown out, no direct apologies are given, and no...
Matt, I want you to stop gaslighting me.
Not an actual apology. But ultimately, my opinion of the whole fight hasn't really changed from last week, and know that so much can, and definitely was, edited out of the show, both in the actual fight and here in the After the Final Rose. So we can't know the full details. Not now, at least.
He's 17. I don't know why. Oh, Henry.
You felt that we gave a chance to win? You felt that we gave a chance to win? Look at this kid Jackson. Jackson! You felt that we gave a chance to win? Look at this kid Jackson. Jackson! You felt that we gave a chance to win? Look at this kid Jackson.
Look how pretty. See, that's the thing about Christian men. They can look like a bag of sticks.
Just a box full of captures.
And the woman
Covered in
a
facial hair.
Norwegian model.
Yeah.
And then there's always a sermon where the pastor will stand up and be like,
Y'all know what God should do when you follow his word. Stand up.
Amen, brother. Yeah, I tap that.
Oh, I know that woman ain't from here. They blew her.
One thing I do want to say is that I've seen a lot of people watching Bachelor alumni saying if Katie's so happily engaged, why is she coming out so mean and gray? Which I say, well, people are complex beings with the ability to have more than one emotion at once. You can be happily married and still be pissed off at an ex who you felt wronged by. Anyways, ultimately the two end on this note. I wish you nothing but the best.
I wish you nothing but the best.
Appreciate it. Yeah, neither of them are Meryl Streep. But I do think this is where it should end. Time to move forward. Katie is now engaged, and there's enough scrutiny that Bachelor couples face out in the world without having to deal with all this additional Greg business. And again, I want to stress we don't know the full deal. A lot of people have been comparing this ending to Rachel Lindsay with Peter, where Rachel was basically left to defend her engagement. Thing is, in reality, she says the edit from the show wasn't aligned with how she actually felt. So I'm going to wish Katie and Blake the best and move forward. And according to this Instagram post, it looks like the next stop for Katie is Canada. Welcome to the club. So the show comes to an end. Blake is brought out, Katie shows off her diamond ring, and Blake gets the audience involved in one last moonwalk moment. And so, season 17 ends with Blake and Katie slow dancing happily ever after. So that's it for this recap of the 3-hour Bachelorette finale. Hope you enjoyed the video, and be sure to give it a like and subscribe if you did. Bachelor in Paradise starts next week, and of course there's a huge interview to get into tomorrow on all of that. Thank you to everyone who joined me this season, and until next time, Bachelor Fan Take out.
You ultimately mean nothing.
So for wet jet prevents streak symptoms and a mom. So love or your money back. Dentsply from Crest Pro Health. It actively rebuilds tooth density to extend the life of teeth.
Katie Thurston's season of The Bachelorette has come to a close, and so, like I do with every season, it's time to break it down and give it a grade. How how does Season 17 compare to seasons past, what worked and what didn't, and in order to figure this all out, I break down the season into 4 main categories: the lead, production, the cast, and the romance. I give all of those grades, mash it all together, and come up with a final ultimate grade for the season. I find that this helps give me a proper perspective of the season as a whole, especially when a season's ending leaves a bad taste in your mouth, which frankly, Season 17 did for me. And warning, this is just my opinion. If you want to leave your grades on the season down in the comment section below. So, let's discuss Katie's season. A season that, to me, really comes down to control and the realization that sometimes trying to control everything is just plain impossible.
We just crossed the threshold.
Now, Katie Thurston as the lead was an unconventional pick simply because she was, well, living from the throne, so to speak. On Matt James' season of The Bachelor, Katie Thurston was eliminated with 10 women still remaining, and typically, consideration for the next Bachelorette was not women in the top 4, sometimes the top 6. Now, of course, Michelle Young, the runner-up from that season, also became the Bachelorette, but behind the scenes, it's been said that Katie was actually the first one considered for the role. And certainly, Katie was a fan favorite from Matt James' season, as she came to the defense of women who had been bullied in the house like Sarah and Brittany. And I know that some will say Katie herself participated in some of the Sarah slander before eventually going to apologize, but the point that I'm trying to make with all of that is that Katie exited Matt's season with certain expectations. Expectations that, 1, the audience was going to expect her to be a bachelorette who did not tolerate bullying or any of the toxic behavior that we often see on the show, and 2, that she'd better deliver a good season if so many other women, quote-unquote, ahead of her in line, were passed over for the job. And these expectations of her, expectations to follow this sort of sacred timeline for a season, I think are reflected in the decisions that she made. For example, the desire to immediately weed out those not here for the right reasons, which is not a bad thing. I just think that, at times, Katie relied on the feelings of the group over her own, which might have been done in an attempt to not have something happen to her that's happened to so many leads in the past. Going through 6 episodes being fooled by someone while the audience screams at their TV saying, "How is this person still here? How do they not see this person for who they really are?" And I'll be honest, if I were on the show and I was the Bachelor, that would be a huge fear for me as well. I too would probably consider, well, maybe if some of these people are saying this person is not here for the right reasons, I should probably just send them home right away so I don't look like a fool. I mean, we did see Katie say she was actually going to keep Carl around until the men found out about it.
They all feel that Carl needs to go home. I don't know what I should do because originally I planned to keep Carl tonight.
Which, yes, was probably the right move, but it also seemed to breed this idea that men would make accusations and it would work. Now, maybe in the same season with another cast, the guys would have formed this hit squad where week after week another person was accused of being there for the wrong reasons, but that's something that you can't control. So in the end, it probably would have just been better to say, "F it, I'm going to make whatever decision I want. I'm the Bachelorette after all. Let me figure out that Carl, Thomas, or whoever is in on my own." And I wonder if these moments like sending Carl home, or more specifically, slamming Thomas by baiting him to the rose and then calling him out, also accompany this expectation that the season needed to be good in order to justify why Katie was picked. And that whole Thomas stuff was likely a production decision as well, trying to have a moment like when Hannah Brown got the rose pedestal from WP. But what made that moment was that it wasn't planned. It just happened. It was in the moment. These seasons are truly the best when that control is relinquished. We all roll our eyes when drama seems forced by production. But when it comes to stuff like Katie and Greg's breakup, which was far from controlled, we're enthralled. Same goes for the romance in this franchise. Things are forced, me too, fall for the couple. And I think this sense of control also applies to Katie on social media, which, first of all, I did love how active Katie was on Instagram and Twitter. I'd prefer that over the opposite. But I also think it's a double-edged sword. Make a wrong post or like something that you shouldn't, and even if you immediately delete it, someone has already screenshotted it and it's off to the races with an online avoid speculation. You want this technology to put all these red herrings to try and Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok sleuthers. But eventually,
Damn it, I should have stayed in the car.
Michael leaves suddenly, Greg leaves suddenly. As the season starts out, Greg becomes a fan favorite, which I think led to a lot of the frustration that we saw with Katie. In digging into Greg after the final rose, Katie was taking back control, which, strangely enough, was kind of like doing what Greg did when they broke up, trying to grasp control of an extremely complicated narrative when there's wrong on both sides. Now, all this being said, there's a lot I want to commend Katie on as well. Being so open about her sexual assault on national TV took a lot of guts, and to be open and share the vulnerable parts of their life when they're ready and without judgment helps us understand a lot of where we're coming from. I also think it's good to normalize people sharing their emotions and not being judged in return. Katie is getting a grade of C. I guess C for control. I think Katie expected to have much more of that in her journey. But if you think you're the one in control of any season, think again. That only lies with one group of people. Production is next. The masterminds behind everything. They control the edit, they make the story.
Every step you took to get here, I paved the road. You just won't know.
But let's start with all the good before we get into the bad. Alright, here's the good. Okay, on to the bad. So what was up with all the repeat dates? I get we're in a bubble, but come on. The truth or dare date with the eating and saying sexy things into an ear seems an awful lot like the exact same date that they did on Tasha's season.
We dare each of you guys to eat a full habanero pepper, and you have to then propose your feelings to this lovely woman.
Each of you are going to eat 2 habanero peppers.
Photos let my ex-husband know that I'm having a better life without him. You, Bradley.
It's so mean. Don't do it. It's the meanest.
Alright, get on the show first, buddy.
Maybe I'm out of my mind, like I'm away from my time, grabbing my check and I grind. I just get the feeling right, you know I ain't getting these scars, straying away from the earth. Maybe I'm out of my mind, like I'm away from my time, grabbing my check and I grind.
Until Shannon Sharp is getting.
We will be deployed soon.
Over there, what is that?
about erotic stories on Matt James' season, erotic stories also on Katie's. Off-roading? Off-roading. Wrestling date? Wrestling date. Feels like we're just in a different timeline of the same season. Then, when it came to one of the more powerful dates, they cut out the best part. Don't tell me they couldn't cut out a few minutes of Aaron and James calling Hunter short in order to let this runway fun. It could have, nay, should have, been done. And speaking of, Hunter's edit with the snorting to make him look bad, well, it was actually because he has mild Tourette's, totally gross, and not necessary to put in the show. Not to mention them pinning Michael's injury on him in the previews, and editing in him saying he got what he deserved. He deserved exactly what he got. Really ticked me off as that never happened. And who knows who else got an edit like that. Plus, I felt beat over the head with the For the Right Reasons storyline that just passed on from one person to the other. And I definitely think that Blake was with his decision to propose than the edits let on. I mean, I get that adding the will he won't he storyline to the show added suspense to the end, but it also really took away from the build-up of romance between Blake and happening before their eventual engagement. Still, I was lying when I said there was nothing good this season. Trigger warnings and highlighting Rain on the topic of Katie's assault was a step in the right direction, and they did dedicate more time into getting to know people this time around, at least more than they did with Matt James' season, even if it wasn't as much time as I'd hoped for. I also liked the addition of Tasha and Caitlin as temporary hosts. I know people were mixed on this, and I do think Tasha and Caitlin are still finding their feet as hosts. I mean, it was their first time after all, and that's always going to come with growing pains, but I really liked having someone with me in Katie's shoes accompany her throughout the season, especially while all of the Greg stuff happened. So I think that was a good choice, especially considering how little time they had to fill the role. All in all, production is getting a C-. Next is the cast. I'll be honest, it's rather hard to grade the cast as we had such a mixed bag this time around, and the season was kind of short. On one hand, we don't know a lot about Greg and Michael and Andrew and all the men who went on the Nick Viall group date. On the other hand, so much time was taken away by all the discussions about who was there for the right reasons or who wanted to be the Bachelor, which after like 2 episodes got a little tiring. Now, Thomas is hard to grade, as I don't think he was as villainous as the show made him out to be, but he was also pretty political in his answering of questions, and that came off as disingenuous. Justin being around was pretty much a meme by the end, which, while funny, also was a shame, as I felt like we should have gotten to know him more seriously if he was going to be in the final 2. And seeing the bloopers and the behind-the-scenes stuff come out, then seeing the guys chat and interacting online after the show, it became apparent that everyone was a lot friendlier with each other than the season led on, which I wish had been more showcased. I guess we'll get to know quite a few more of them in the upcoming season of Paradise, but for now, I'm giving the cast a B-. The For the Right Reasons squad was annoying, but there were a lot of great guys as well. Which brings us finally to the romance. I felt a little let down when it comes to the romance department, but in a different way than with the last season of The Bachelor. Now this season, I think the romance was there and that it was getting off to a great start, but then somewhere around the middle, we dipped. Maybe it's because the season was only 10 episodes and cut so short, or maybe it's because Blake, the eventual winner, came in during episode 4 and really only started his journey halfway through the season. Not to mention, part of that included people questioning his intentions, as this was the 3rd bachelorette that he was dating. And don't get me wrong, I like Blake. It's just that him going from episode 5, getting his first one-on-one, to episode 10, getting engaged, is always going to end up being a little rushed. Plus, one of those episodes in between was entirely dedicated to Michael and the hotel, so that's even less screen time. Throw in the whole Greg business for another episode, and the fact that most of the ending was edited in a way to make it seem like Blake might not propose, and I think I've pinpointed why I didn't have the same sense of excitement for this ending as I've had for other seasons with proposals at the end. I say this from an editing perspective. I don't mean to hate on them. I really, really hope they're happy, and I wish them the best. but I can't help but leave this season feeling like I wanted more. The romance gets a C, leading to an overall score for the season as a C, which feels pretty accurate to me. There were great moments and boring moments, fun moments and boring moments, and in the end I felt it was an okay season. One that will be talked about for a long time because of the wild Greg and Katie breakup, but otherwise will probably fade into the middle ground of Bachelorette seasons past, and I think that's just something Katie couldn't control. So that's it for this video grading Katie's season. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, give the video a like, subscribe for more content, and let me know your grades for the season in the comments section below. A new season of Bachelor in Paradise is coming up next, and until then, Bachelor Fan Take out.
Every step you took to get here, I paved the road. You just walked down it.
Thank you for your feedback.
When you live with moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, your day can be full of reminders of your condition. You weren't made for UC or Crohn's, but Entyvio is. In clinical trials, Entyvio helped many achieve long-term relief and remission. Infusion and serious allergic reactions can happen during or after treatment. Entyvio may increase risk of infection, which can be serious. Although unlikely, a risk of PML or rare, serious, potentially fatal brain infection cannot be ruled out. Tell your doctor if you have an infection.
Every season of The Bachelorette we've come to expect certain things. Romance, drama, roses, limos, date cards, draft TV to talk about with your coworkers whether they like it or not. Certain tropes and arcs for a season become synonymous with the Bachelor brand. And when it comes to Michelle's season, I can describe it in one word. We had villains that were just that, villains. We had Travis Bubble. We had Neil Reagan back. We had a final two that both actually showed up to the final rose ceremony, something we've only seen happen once in the last 6 Bachelor/Bachelorette seasons, and in a season where we got the most diverse cast in franchise history, and the first ever Final Four that were all men of color. They chose a white guy for The Bachelor. Alright, cut the music, and let us now engage in the tradition of grading each season of The Bachelor or Bachelorette, using 4 main categories: the lead, the cast, production, and the romance. And once that is done, combine those into one overall grade. So let's start with... Now, one thing I want to point out about Michelle's season right off the bat is that if you're interested in a season that is high drama, like if you prefer a Peters kind of season because you enjoy the drama and the romance is secondary to you, this season may not do it for you, and in that same regard, Michelle. And hey, I'm not saying it's bad if you tune in for the mess alone. I'm not here to gatekeep your viewing experience. I just personally believe there needs to be a balance. So in my opinion, Michelle exemplified a lot of great qualities as a lead. She was decisive, she made it clear what she needed from her partner.
Heard me read a poem about not being seen, and that doesn't mean that I need like these massive romantic gifts or gestures. I honestly just want like a hello.
And while it did take a while for some of the guys to catch on to this, by the end, the men that Michelle was choosing between both understood this well.
I see you. I've always seen you. And I will always see you. Always chosen first. Seen. Made. The rest of our lives.
She was also, as I saw it, pretty adept in playing the Bachelor game. And what I mean by that is being able to both know what you want and not let production walk all over you, but still give enough to let you enjoy the show. We had Jamie causing trouble and then being swiftly eliminated. Then Princess replaced him as season villain and put him in angry mood to try and garner Michelle's attention at the expense of others. Instead of sending him away, Michelle gave him a rose. Now, I wasn't particularly a fan of that rose being handed out, but if you're a bachelor or bachelorette lead, you've probably been picked in part due to your willingness to play ball with production. And after reading a few of the books that have come out from past franchise leads, it does seem like while you are there to find love, sometimes you can't help. Feel a friend to have a quote good season, because at the end of the day, you don't want to disappoint viewers. And this line between decisiveness and playing ball, I think helps to create a season that is more, quote, traditional. Just about the only Bachelor trope that we didn't see this season was a 2-on-1. But on the flip side, it won't be seen immediately from this group. No one will be jumping a fence. For some viewers, that's a blessing. For others, it might be boring. That's not empty or dramatic. I think drama can be found elsewhere and still lead to an equally fun and messy season. So overall, I think Michelle did a very good job. I'm giving her an A. She was clear about what she needed in a partner, and when she made decisions, she was, well, decisive. Plus, she brought LaVon and Ephraim into the franchise, who are national treasures. So, on to category 2. And so, the cast, which, I'll be honest, feels like a very odd group of guys to assess. We certainly have highlights in the group. Olu, Rodney, and Brandon should all have been considered for Bachelor, but they weren't, nor was Rick. I think Nate was way more likable than the edit let on. Like, remember that "you're an actor" thing from the previews that was directed at Nate from Clayton?
Nate is a player, you're an actor, and you come on a reality show.
According to Nate, Clayton never actually said that to Nate, and realize it was totally but once we venture beyond those guys, we have Ryan the Bachelor guy, rest in peace.
Chris, not everyone has a fair opportunity.
Jalen Hurts.
Not Chris Evans hard launching his relationship with Al, which is on my 2023 bingo card. But can we talk about he did it with just a 2022 recap of them just doing jump scares on each other? Like, that's cute. Not everyone has.
Jalen Hurts, system quarterback. Can I have your badge number? I'm a Wentz guy. You have 3 picks today. It's not a good look for me. He's gonna come back. He's gonna make a nice comeback. On what team in the CFL? It's probably gonna be Patriots next year. It's probably gonna be the Toronto Argonauts. Jalen Hurts.
I don't know why NBA franchises don't use their G League teams to stash and develop players with wicked high potential. Because if I was a GM, all I would do is draft these type of players in the second round. So my G League team over the last couple of years would have had Taco Fall, Nikola Jovic, Luka Garza, RJ Hampton, and Bobo. I don't know why NBA franchises...
Feeling it.
The only American general to be tried for cowardice and sentenced to a...
Every night you have families. And yet, here you die. Tonight should be no different. Come on. Do you think the people that sent you here are any different? Who do you think we learned this from? Your wife? You think she can prepare them what you become? Don't forget about my daughter. No foot personal.
topper. It comes right off. Okay.
This is they make under, not a make over.
Yeah, let me just say this. Look at the light of me, babe. And now, back to this bitch had a lot to say about me the other day in the press. Miley.
Do you think Kenny Peter, the only man that can make pizza sound annoying?
Western Pizza.
Jamie with the Michelle's on-screen great remarks and never really being able to take accountability.
Battle Royale. I'm going to gas. Get to the safe zone. You're clear to engage all targets.
I need pistol rounds! Enemy UAV overhead. Gas is moving. Be advised, Intel has located multiple strongholds. Gas is closing in. Relocating the safe zone. Friendly loadout drop on the way. Gas is closing in. This is the Gulag. You'll have to fight to earn redeployment.